Hello, yes, so welcome back. Welcome back to the next Nostalgic Monthly. Nostalgic Monthly number 3. This is a huge one. We have Microsoft leaking the future of their consoles, which is insane, like unprecedented. We'll get to that. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth announcements have blown up this month. We have Unity apologizing from our last video. We'll cover that. We have a No Man's Sky Cyberpunk 77 update, which is pretty cool. Rocksmith 2017 is getting delisted from digital storefronts. We'll cover that today. Jak II OpenGoal announcements. Let's get right into it. So the first thing, of course, I want to cover is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This has been an amazing couple of weeks. Okay, so this started off at Sony's last State of Play. We got a brand new trailer. The trailer was amazing. But what I'm showing on screen now, spoiler alert by the way, if you don't want to know anything, we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You've been warned. This is what was shown at the TGS Tokyo Game Show event last Saturday. I watched the whole thing. It was amazing. It showcases the huge outside of Calm area. We go to Chocobo Sam's farm from the original. These zones are huge. I don't know if I'd call it an open world, but I don't know what else to call it. It is apparently some sort of weird open zone world hybrid. But yeah, it is very big, very open, but it is also populated. It is huge as in the amount of stuff there is to do, minigame-wise, things to gather, collect. A lot of it does have that Horizon Zero Dawn feeling, and I haven't gotten through much of the game of Horizon Zero Dawn, granted. Keep getting distracted, like always, but that game, you know, it has catching things and crawling away from things, which is just like one of the Chocobo missions where you catch Chocobo in this game. It's got hunting and gathering and crafting. It's got all sorts of crazy, crazy things. Now, apparently, they wanted to show us way more than we saw, but this is basically a big summary of what we saw. We have new minigames, new Murgle minigame, but a new Queen of Cards, which is a whole new card game exclusive to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I believe, as in, like, it'll be over for and just inside this game. Seems like another one of those board game things, like an integrate with the Fort Condor mission. You can catch Chocobos. Chocobos can smell hidden items. Chocobos are a huge part of land traversal, makes getting to and fro much, much faster. Charlie, the guy back from the original game, is back in this game, and he has a whole new set of materia stuff for you to do, but he also gives you hints towards opening up the world via tower systems that give you waypoint hints and all sorts. As you can see, our party in this video, the whole party's here. We'll get to that. Oh, actually, we'll talk about it now. You can switch between quick selects of your party members. You can only have 3 in your party, but there are support members as well. This is the world map. It is massive. Take a look at this. This game is being everything I expected it to be, and so much more. It is insane. Anyway, let's keep going. So, waypoints in a Ubisoft fashion, rather. Interesting. I'm a little bit tired of that gameplay, but I think if there's enough refinement here, it could actually be amazing. So, holding judgment of anything, because I've already been blown away past my expectations of what I thought Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth could be. You're able to play the piano, like you can play Ali's guitar in Last of Us Part 2. So, in essence, you can play any note you want, transfer it to the piano. That's kind of what they're saying, I think. It looks pretty insane. There's a new traversal ability to scale mountains and rocks. You can kind of just climb anything right above you. That's not showcased in this demo, but there's playable demos on TGS Floor where that is showcased. You can find them right here on YouTube. You have the party member quick select. We covered that. Your limit gauge gradually falls as you take damage or stagger your enemies. Once your gauge is full, you can unleash a devastating limit break attack unique to each party member, but you can also have synergy attacks where you team up with another party member, and you get these synergy attacks by using your ATB gauge, and that fills up something else. So you're not just standing around waiting for your ATB gauge to fill anymore, like in Part 1, or Remake rather. Cat, She, Red 13, Yuffie are all fully playable. Sephiroth is fully playable inside of the flashback, just like in the original. Zack has a whole chapter dedicated to him, so heavily alluding that he is also playable as well. Vincent will join your party as an AI like Red 13 did in the first part. That is some amazing stuff they're just getting you right off the bat, so it makes you wonder. There's got to be some crazy surprises in this that they're not telling us. We'll get to that shortly. There's the buggy. You can traverse the world with that buggy from the first game, the OG game. Continents are open and they connect. Wutai was hinted at the end of TGS. Now, why that is big is that they have gone out and said Wutai is one of the places you cannot visit in Rebirth, and it will be remaining in Part 3. And then they had this really clever teaser at the end where they showed it, and then they went, oh, on stage, they're holding the microphones, oh, where's that? I wonder where that is. They're teasing more stuff, so I think Wutai's in this game, and they're trying to keep us interested with more mysterious crap, you know. I don't know what's happening. Maybe Wutai's in the Jak chapter only, so you can't actually go there, like maybe they're being technical about it. Could make sense. I think Wutai was a huge part of Crisis Core, right, so maybe that goes there. I don't know what's happening with the Jak stuff, but yeah, this is much more than I ever expected. Now, we can't sit here and talk about Rebirth all day, so what I'll do for you is I'll probably make a separate video, but there will be a certain point where I'll go radio silence with it, because I don't want to be in a position where with Remake they spoiled a lot of story plots the last couple of weeks before it came out. I don't want to be going there, so I might actually just avoid the last little bit of the marketing campaign. But yeah, marketing's in full swing. If you want to get into it, go for it. We'll be moving on to our next story. So our next story is the Unity apology and policy changes. So for those of you that watched my last video, you might know that Unity had these crazy policy updates where you had to pay a certain runtime fee, 2 cents to 20 cents per installation. So they've gone and changed their policy. Unity personal users will no longer be affected by this fee. So if you're making a game and you are not profiting in any way whatsoever, you do not have to pay this fee. As well as this, no game that has profited anything lesser than 1 million USD over a consecutive 12-month period will be affected by this fee. Okay, interesting. So it's not hitting the smallest anymore, potentially. The runtime fee policy will only be beginning at the next LTS version of Unity shipping 2024 and beyond. That means any games that are currently shipped and the projects you are currently working on will not be included in this fee unless you choose to upgrade your software. So it seems like a pretty big loophole, meaning that if you don't update your software, you will not get this fee. So maybe now is the time to grab Unity if you're just getting started, and even if you're not affected by this fee, maybe you want to do that anyways. They'll make sure, apparently, that the LTS version you're currently using will not be affected. For games that are affected by the fee, they'll be giving you a choice of either a 2.5% revenue share or the calculated amount based on the number of new people that are engaging with the game. But they'll always bill you the lesser amount. So I think I might link to Mudahar's video on this because I think it covers it way better than I can, but yes, this is better. They're not backpedaling, they definitely want that money. That kind of sucks, but I've heard a different take on this, which is basically they need to do this to survive, but I don't know if I believe that, but I'm knowing where the industry is heading, they may do. I don't know, you don't see anyone else doing this, so I'm not really a big buyer of that narrative, but maybe it is possible, very possible, that I don't know what I'm talking about. But I think the bigger issue is the company trust issue. So now that basically they've gone ahead and they did this, and there were so many complaints, they basically lost company trust. A lot of their loyal people would have already shifted over. And at any time they can sort of make a call like this that is so self-destructive and implodes on their user base, and I think everyone's sort of aware of that now. And even though every company with every game engine has the potential to do this, I guess they are seen as a bigger flight risk, and I mean, rightly so, right? There's been some pretty dodgy stuff, like the comments that the CEO said about monetization back in the day and stuff, like calling them developers idiots if they don't make the game with monetization in mind. Stuff like that, right? So, I don't know, it's a bit of a crazy atmosphere. If it gets any crazier, I might make an update video on it, but I did want to put my 2 cents on the discussion, so if you want to see that video, that'll be below as well. But yes, there is good news here, I suppose. Okay, so basically leaked their own future documents. So how this happened is that they've been in an ongoing, court case with the FTC. I think this is to do with the Activision buyout. And so somehow, I'm not too sure because I'm not savvy with this stuff, but this, it's all online if you want to read it. This, basically the courts have come out and said this is Microsoft sending some link that was meant to be private, but it was public, and yeah, so the biggest thing that was leaked was the codename Brooklyn a thing called Codename Brooklyn, which is a refresh Series X console, the top of the Xbox line at the moment. It'll have double, it is coming out next year, it'll have double the storage at 2 terabytes, lower power usage, Wi-Fi 6E connectivity and other tech upgrades, according to a leaked document. It'll have a cylindrical design, and it will be digital only. Adorably digital is the screenshot I've seen of it. But there's no comment on whether there will be a disk drive you can buy separately like Sony has coming up apparently, so this could be the end of digital of physical games on Microsoft's side, though. I think there is a lot more of the documents that allude to my understanding is there are more of those documents that allude to Microsoft at the very least getting rid of physical releases. So going forward, you know, you could go, like, even if they do put a disc drive in, you can go backwards and play your old discs, but at some point they do want to cut it off. So this could be the last generation that they do digital releases. I personally don't think that'll last, but we have seen a push for this recently, haven't we? We've seen it with Alan Wake 2, Baldur's Gate 3. So yeah, if you want to get more into that discussion, Mystic Benicki, Mystic Ryan, or Mystic, however you know him, has a great discussion about this that came out last Tuesday. I'll link that below, along with a couple of other source links from this video itself in the description below. Please check that out because it is a really great discussion if you all do care about physical games and so forth. Moving on, at some point Phil Spencer wrote that getting Nintendo would be a great career moment, and a long time for Nintendo to realize that their future exists outside their own hardware. So, I don't know if this is still the case. Phil Spencer did put a tweet out saying a lot has changed recently. I'm not sure that's quite the case with Nintendo. Personally, I think they've kind of got their own base currently in their own consoles, and it's quite profitable and marketable, so yeah, not too savvy, but don't know about that one. Bethesda's roadmap was also leaked, which is a great story. I want to talk about that one. So recently leaked was a sequel to Ghostwire Tokyo, Dishonored 3, and remasters of Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And also don't expect Elder Scrolls 6 for quite a while. So I feel like the Elder Scrolls 6 stuff we knew, even though it was leaked, we knew that it was going to be exclusive, we knew that it was not coming up for quite a while. But yeah, I guess it's been reaffirmed with these insider chat discussions. They're basically like some sort of weird like Facebook chat with some of the, probably not Facebook, right? But you know, some like insider chat with some of the big wigs or whatever at Xbox, Microsoft. Yeah, it was interesting in itself to see that. But more so, Fallout 3 and Elder Scrolls 4, I think, definitely deserve a remaster. It'd be great to get that. Seems like it'll be exclusive though, but you know, I guess that's what gives sometimes. Ubisoft have announced that Rocksmith 2014 will be leaving all storefronts on October 23rd, 2023. With all DLC packs and singles to follow over time. So basically, if you haven't bought Rocksmith 2014 already, now is the time to buy it because you'll no longer be able to buy it. It's going forward past 23rd next month. However, if you do own it, you can download it and play it forever. Now, I didn't realize this, but this happened for Rocksmith 1 last year, on October 17th last year. To me, this reads corporate greed. This reads, you know, we got our new sub software, Rocksmith Plus, C DLCs, which are basically like tabs, right, are legal. We can't battle them. We put an update out trying to squash them. You guys got around it. We're just going to take the games offline, right? C DLC is a great thing. It really, back in the day, I remember the developers talking about how they didn't really care about it because as long as they worked with them and didn't release anything that was illegal with piracy, people are just having music, right? Like, tabs are fine. This is a discussion that really annoys me because this just is another example of, you know, the sub stuff going crazy and corporate greed and all that. I don't even think the developers, like, care about, like, this move, like, they don't like this movie, because if you look at, like, their reasoning and their quick discussion about it, they've basically said the bare minimum, right? They've said, you know, it's leaving, yada yada. And when they say, why is it leaving, they basically just have this section that says, sorry, thank you all so much for the last 10 years, so-and-so. But now it has to leave. Like, it's the shortest line ever. I don't know, man. This just... I've been trying to read a little bit on Reddit stuff. I try not to get too, like, corrupted with my own thoughts and other people's thoughts here, but I don't know, it just seems like a bad move. But, you know, I guess the stuff happens and whatever. But yeah, if you're into C DLC and any legitimate DLC, get that now. I love Rocksmith. It really sucks that they're doing this. So, yeah, No Man's Sky Echoes is a new update that came out, I think, last month, but we didn't quite cover it in our last video, and I quickly just wanted to touch upon it here. There are some pretty cool things, so I'm just going to kind of scroll through it and go through my favorite stuff I've noted down here. So my favorite things from this is there's space battle overhauls. You get to meet a secret society of robotic aliens called the, I'm probably mispronouncing this, the autophage, or the autophage, I think, a long hidden civilization of robotic beings with bodies cobbled together from scrap metal and salvage technologies. Huge variety of styles for these aliens in terms of customizations and things like that. Outlaw capital ships, fearsome pirate dreadnoughts cruise between stars and terrorize merchant fleets. Confront them to rescue the civilians from certain death. Multi-tool salvaging, PlayStation VR 2 point of view rendering support, which looks pretty cool. That's this here. Space combat depth. You can also apparently upgrade weapons, so that's pretty cool. One of my favorites is the holographic museum. You get to construct a wanderer projector to display all sorts of your favorite fauna and flora that you've found throughout the world of No Man's Sky inside of your base, which is pretty cool. Destructible freighters, robot avatar customization, voltaic staff customization with creative options from the staff. You get to add pirates to your fleet, much higher fidelity on Nintendo Switch, which if we just scroll down here, it actually looks like a really major update for the Switch. If we go to the before and after. And new jetpack trails, which is interesting. So there's a bunch of stuff here. I'll link below the Echoes update. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll be getting back into No Man's Sky shortly. I played quite a bit of it this year, and I want to get over 100 hours soon, so if I can, and yeah, get my words out this game. It is a great game nowadays. It's definitely worth playing. You should check it out if you're into space games and all that jazz. So here's a bunch of stuff that is in the new 2.0 update of Cyberpunk 2077. I'm just going to go through my notes here while I scroll through this one again. So, for context, this game was broken and buggy and was delisted from the PlayStation Store back in 2020 when it was released. A bit of a victim of, corporate pushing, and basically it wasn't ready to come out and all that, but it was pretty novel for like getting delisted on the PlayStation Store. But nowadays it's apparently quite good, and this update pretty much solidifies its place in current games. So there's new vehicle combat, allowing shooting while driving, overhauled police system with NPCs doing all crazy stuff, brand new perk and armor and cyberware system. NPCs now react to what you do on each difficulty setting, so they react to what you do on difficulty rather than like what they did in different areas apparently, which makes the game a bit more playable. The update is completely free, by the way, if you own the game. Perk tree overhauls, NPCs now switch to lanes to avoid traffic, which I thought was pretty cool actually. Like there was like a lot of crazy gifts and stuff coming out. And for context, I don't know, like I'm not ripping on the game. I stayed clear of the game when it came out just because I knew it could be a No Man's Sky situation and I'd rather play it then. So I'm actually picking it up for like $30 next month, giving it a play, and yeah, I'm probably going to love it, right? And I probably would have liked it, a couple months back too, but this seems like the time to jump in. All NPCs now scale to your level, and weapons now scale based on their tier. So there's a bunch of cool stuff in here. You can go through that if you'd like to. I'll leave the link in the description below. Let me know what you think about that. I'm pretty excited to jump into the world of Cyberpunk 2077. It always looked really cool, and now it looks great. So, progress report, Jak and Daxter OpenGoal, August 2023. This is a big update on custom level support. So let's go through it. So, first of all, they've added some more stuff for Polish alphabet characters, pretty sweet. So this is really what I wanted to get into today, which was the custom level stuff. So, fixed custom level crash with multiple ambients. Having more than one ambient present in a custom level would cause a crash, due to a bug in the level builder. Viz level boundaries. This game expects the levels to have a lowercase to make things like Viz boundaries work. I've heard a lot about this, but I don't actually understand what this is. I'm just getting into custom stuff in Jak and Daxter recently, so yeah, hopefully I'll have more to say in the upcoming months with that. Fix custom level crash during level unload. Fixes a crash that would occur when loading and unloading custom levels within normal files. So the way I read this is that when there's a boundary between a normal level and a custom level, there'd be some sort of crash. That is gone now. Oh, this one's really cool. Add support for packing models and textures directly into custom levels. So if you had something like floating platforms in Spider Cave, then you'd have to sacrifice one of your 2 level slots to load in those platforms. No, you don't need to do anything like that at all. It can all be unpacked. That is a lot of good news for custom level builders and modders. Now you have a lot more flexibility, and I hope to be able to bring something more to the conversation in the upcoming months. Please stick around to the end of the video if you do want to hear about something like that, potentially. Anyway, Jak II, Felix Palace Airlock, after the first boss fight, that's been fixed. New secrets, now this is awesome, this is the kind of stuff OpenGoal is all about. Turbo Jetboard in Haven City and Haven Forest, so it's like Jak 3's Wasteland. Real time of day, it's based on your system clock. No textures, music player, vehicle invulnerability, health bars, and damage numbers for enemies in games. Peaceful City, so I guess no NPCs. Item magnet and a precursor Hulk tracker menu. That is pretty sweet. Some of this awesome quality of life changes for the game. Very exciting stuff. You can see some previews of that stuff here. How cool is that? The music player looks like this, and you can even set the danger to the type of music you want to listen to. We will be playing some OpenGoal Jak II next month. Stay tuned for that. There's some glow clipping that is no longer happening. Big map support. This actually wasn't in the game for a while. That's now has big map in the game. So, yeah, mini-maps icons work properly, and movements on that. Japanese subtitles. Clouds, the last of the missing ship textures have been added, and there's just a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, we're just zooming through this one because there's so many stories in this episode, but that is the gist of this update for August 2023. Very excited for this one. The September one's just around the corner, and we'll cover that next month, unless it is a massive one. We'll probably cover that sooner. But yes, custom levels, easier, big map support, secrets, and texture fixes in Jak II. Now, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I just have a little quick announcement, basically, which is next month is what I am calling JakIIber. Me and some of the other people in the community haven't quite decided what that is yet, but I know what I'm doing for it, and I'm putting out 3 Jak II videos next month, the 3rd of October, the 14th of October, and the 31st of October, my time. You'll see that. The 14th is the one you want to stay tuned for. There will be a preview for that one next week. It is a big one, and I'll announce what it is at the end of the week. At the end of the week, there will be a preview for that video, and it is a big one. And basically, yeah, please stick around. There will be some OpenGoal stuff in this section too. Yeah, favorite game. I'm doing some stuff for it. I hope to see you there. Thank you for watching. See ya.